You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to The Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, March 16th show. I'm your host, Tina Mitchell.
And your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
And we are here to help you build a strong financial blueprint 1 week and one show at a time. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to connect you with the guests that we have on the show. You can call it 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Our next guest in Susan Studio, our next guest in studio is Susan. That is a tongue twister. Susan Palmer Wood. We're going to be talking about mindset effect with Susan. Susan, thank you so much for coming into studio. So excited to chat with you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And a little bit about Susan. Susan is a former Microsoft and tech startup executive turned mindset empowerment coach, master NLP, love that, practitioner and trainer. She's also president of the Eastside Chapter of Women's Open Network Group and volunteers in middle school classrooms with the Choices organization to reduce high school dropout rate. Sharing the message, you are not what happens to you. You are who you choose to become. Love that. Your choices today impact your opportunities tomorrow. Susan is passionate about helping people transform their thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors so they can experience a more joyful and fulfillment in their career, relationship, and personal development.
Susan, I'm so excited about this. I love mindset stuff. This is good.
Yay.
So you are a mindset empowerment coach and NLP trainer. What does that mean?
That's a great question. When I think, have you ever experienced those thoughts of, oh, I can't do this, or, well, I am the way that I am, or that is the way it is, or, well, I am this way because this thing happened to me. And then just imagine quieting those voices and just getting free from them and seeing new possibilities and new ways of doing things. That's what I help people do. So empowerment is really understanding that you can be at choice in your life, that you are a co-creator. I believe that you are a co-creator of your life and versus a victim of circumstances, because circumstances by themselves are neutral until you give them meaning.
Yeah.
Right, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, and I am so fascinated by it because it's like a manual for the brain. And really to simplify it, it is to improve the communication with yourself and with others. So everything is starting from the inside out, and how you talk to yourself. And then ultimately it's how you see the world and how you treat other people. And I'm passionate about creating a ripple effect of happiness and joy, because when you feel good, then you're more likely to be nice to the person next to you, to speak nicely with your kids, to tip your barista, to let the person in front of you in traffic instead of road rage.
Yeah.
So that's really true empowerment, is going from victim to victor in your life.
Yeah, and why not? If we talked earlier with the D, I mean, if you want to get healthier, you make healthier decisions and you can lose weight. If you want to get smarter, you study more. So why can't we get our brains to work better, to benefit us to really be the person that we're meant to be? So true.
And we think that we are stuck with it, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm talking about seeing things differently, I've helped people lose lifelong allergies in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
People who let go of addictions, of food addictions, in 15 minutes. So we have been taught that we are stuck, and that's just not true.
Nope. And it's not changing the story. It is looking at the story differently, because that story that is negative actually is very positive if you can embrace that negative side of it, which we're going to talk a little bit about tragedy to triumph, which is, my message, and totally engaged in that. So what kinds of results are you experiencing with your clients? I mean, you gave an example to get over addiction and allergies and different things.
And those are quick ones using neuro-linguistic programming processes. That's why it's done so quickly, is because it's changing the way that your brain is firing and the way that, like you said, the way that you're seeing things. My clients are really, they are having clarity and seeing possibilities and stepping into their empowerment. So it's almost like, when your windshield of your car is dirty, and then you turn on the windshield wipers and you can see clearly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this is, you can't see on the radio, but I'm holding up my hands in front of my face. You're looking through life with a lens, right? And this is clearing the lens.
Yeah. Or you can have bad windshield wipers that it doesn't come out any clear. It just gets really smudgy. And that's where most people are actually living, in that smudgy window, right?
Yeah. And so getting stop getting wound up. Some of my clients, they stop yelling at their kids.
Yeah.
They just have this clarity, and because they're telling themselves a different story and they're seeing, things differently, then because we know what we need to do, like Dee was talking about habits.
Yeah.
And so it's getting yourself out of the way so that you can do it. And that's what my clients are doing.
And how important is it to have that third-party person to do that for you? You know, you might not see it, within internally into yourself, and we do have that self-talk, and you got to be very careful. If you're saying something out of your mouth, you've thought about it a lot, and you create neural paths, right, in your brain and habits, and it's a downward spiral. So having somebody to step out and like be that person to tell you, this is what I see, as a professional and expert, is really helpful. I mean, how do you work with your clients specifically?
Yeah, I love that. It's so true. Even coaches have coaches, because we all need someone to mirror things back to us. So I start off coaching packages with something that's called a mental emotional release. And it's just, I'm listening for language patterns and language constructs and limiting beliefs, and we dig that all up, and then we go through a process of releasing them. So this is just within 2 4-hour sessions. Then we release what's called baggage, so things like trapped anger, fear, sadness, guilt, and limiting beliefs. The big ones like I'm not enough, or I can't, or I'm not smart enough, the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And from there, then they get this it's like a new normal.
Yeah.
It's almost like, oh, I forgot how I was.
Yeah.
Although afterwards they say, gosh, who am I without this old thought?
Yeah.
So they kind of have to go, wow. And then they have this new normal. And from there, they can create a vision for what they want in our life. Because most of us know what we don't want.
Yeah.
And we're not clear on what we do want.
Yeah.
So they get clear on what it is that they do want. And then we start creating strategies and habits to get them where they want to go.
Yeah.
But it's really doing that internal work, because it's not the goal, it's who you become on your way to this bigger vision of what you want, and it's all in alignment with your values.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how, it's not what you don't want, it's what you want. Because I think most people, as they talk to, I don't want this. And I would say, if you're in the car and you're saying, I'm not going to be late, I'm not going to be late, I'm not going to be late, you're going to be late.
Yes.
Because the universe doesn't understand your words. It understands the emotion behind the words. So you need to talk with what gives you great emotion, not emotion that brings you stress and overwhelmness. So who can really most benefit from you? Or, who's your favorite person to work with? Who do you just really love in connecting with?
Well, NLP is a do-with process, not a do-to process.
Okay.
So what I would say is the people that it can most help are the ones who want help. So you have to want it. And the ones that I love working with are the ones who are curious, the ones who have that leverage, like you guys talked about earlier, of saying, okay, that's it. I don't know why I'm doing this, or maybe I do. Maybe I have the story of why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm ready to release it. They're open-minded. Maybe they're open to the mindset work, some spirituality work, because I also incorporate energy work into what I do, and ready to really step into their authenticity of being who they are. And they can still do everything that they want to do, but it's coming from a place of being. And in Western society, it's so backwards. Like, if we do these things, then we'll have we want to have, and then eventually we can be who we are. Yeah. But really, we have to start with be. Yep. And so I have worked with people as young as 21 and as old as 72. Not that that's old, but that's a range. And I love working with people who are kind of in that middle life stage, who are saying, well, what used to work for me isn't working anymore, and I don't really want to, I don't know what's next. So.
Yeah. And, most people say, if I see it, I believe it. I say, if I believe it, I'm going to see it. So it's a shift in a different way of looking. Yeah.
So, Susan, you alluded to your tragedy to triumph story. Tell us a little bit about that and how it influenced you to work with people, or kind of what led you down the path of helping people with what you do now.
Yes. So I had a lot of trauma in my childhood, and I had gained some beliefs of unworthiness, not enoughness. And that plagued me for a long time. And eventually what happened is I was extremely successful in corporate America. From the outside, I looked successful.
Yeah.
From the inside, I had big time imposter syndrome. I was a single mom and also thinking I'm not doing that right. I had all of these doubts, and eventually it led to a health crisis where one morning I couldn't get up off the floor after multiple warnings from my naturopath, who said, your health is a ticking time bomb, you got to stop. And I'm like, oh, we have another release coming out. I can't possibly stop. And so my body stopped me. And so I completely burned out my adrenals and I had to take months off. After I started recovering, then I went to this mountain. And I climbed this mountain. It took about 8 hours, and I didn't know I was going to climb. It was Angel's Peak in Utah, in Zion, I believe it is. And I didn't know. I was with a friend who said, we'll take stops. But I got to the top, and I went, and this is a treacherous climb. Like you hold on to chains, and you're looking over, and here I am with a suitcase full of supplements. Chronic fatigue, it's awful. And somehow, after 8 hours, I made it to the top of this mountain, and something shifted in me and said, oh my gosh, I'm not broken. There is nothing wrong with me. And I felt this incredible empowerment. And the thing is, nothing changed but my mind.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it took me 4 hours to get down, and my life changed after that. I did a Tough Mudder. I got certified in Zumba. I changed jobs. And then a coincidence, as things happen, is an old workbook fell off my shelf. And on the cover, it said, sign up for NLP Practitioner training, January 2009. And I went, oh, yeah, I forgot I want to do that.
Yeah.
Fell in love with it, went through Master Practitioner training, had a lot of personal development work, let go the things that I now do with clients.
Yes.
Let go of those old beliefs and trapped emotions, transformed my life and said, I can't not do this.
Yeah.
And so that's what drives me, is that people don't have to be stuck in that misery.
And all it is changing your mind, having new habits of how you look at things. And then I, believe the universe is just pinging out there with all kinds of opportunities, whether it was the book falling, it was the mountain that was there for you. There were so many different things that just happened to be the one that connected at that moment. But just think about that. The universe is just out there pinging all kinds of opportunities for you, just waiting for you to grab one of them. But you've got to reshift the way that you're thinking. So your biggest takeaway from that, obviously, was focusing more on your thoughts.
Yeah, it's to really be aware of that your thoughts drive your thoughts lead to thoughts lead to feelings lead to behaviors, and behaviors lead to outcomes. So just be curious about the thoughts, and you don't have to be stuck. You don't have to live being miserable. You have choice. And that's true empowerment.
Of course.
I love that. So I'm sure there's plenty of listeners out there going, whoa, this is kind of hitting home. So
We got some back-to-back powerful conversations here.
I love it. I love this empowerment stuff. How can someone who's struggling, one of our listeners out there, how can they make some steps to empowering themselves to change their lives and step into this light in this universe?
So the first thing is a little bit what we just talked about is being aware. So we have over 60,000 thoughts per day. A lot of them are what we had the day before and the day before that and the month before that and the year before that. So it's paying attention. So that's the first thing that I do with clients is pay attention to your thoughts, write them down, and then question them. Are they true? Then you also can be clear on what you want and how you want to feel, and manage your state, manage your emotional state. And there are ways that you can do that. Just like if I said, hold out your hand, close your eyes, hold out your hand, I'm going to put a lemon in it, this big juicy lemon, cut it in half, squeeze it, now put it in your mouth automatically waters. Well, there's no lemon there. So the mind doesn't really understand what's going on in your head versus what's going on in reality. So choose how you want to feel. That's empowerment. And don't be a victim of your mind or your circumstances.
Susan, we've got less than 60 seconds. Our time is up. Final shout out to our listener. What do you want to say to him?
You are who you choose to become. And when you look at things differently, then those things change. So you can be empowered, and you have the power within you. So please reach out to me at susanpalmerwood.com and on Facebook, also Susan Palmer Wood.
Yeah, love that. Thank you, Susan, so much. And coming up next to the Money Hour, breaking out of the winter freeze, spring real estate update, Carrie Ray Davis with Mitsui Real Estate Group at Keller Williams, right here at 11:50 a.m. KKNW after this short break.